The Anatomy of a Collapse, a civic lens from the alternate feed, created by Redesign. Collapse doesn't always roar in. Sometimes it glides, dressed in stability. You see a summit, a budget surplus, a handshake. What you don't see are the signals muting, feedback lost, cracks forming beneath compliance. Together, we will walk through the anatomy of collapse, not as a checklist, but as a story our world lived many times before, a story some of us are living now. It starts quietly, in what looks like order. Institutions delay action, governments recycle language, people adapt again. This is stage one, when a system performs but no longer listens. After the First World War, the League of Nations was born with grand ambitions. On paper, it promised peace. But beneath the surface, power drifted. Its words held no weight, and aggressors knew it. Today, the UN mirrors this shape. Resolutions gather, but action stalls. Vetoes speak louder than consensus. And the world watches, wondering if global law is still law at all. The danger at this stage is not explosive. It is accumulative, like rust. It spreads unnoticed until decisions become disconnected from needs, and leadership becomes ritual without reflection. Then come the contradictions. Systems speak in one language, act in another. This is stage two. It's not that people stop trusting, it's that the system proves itself untrustworthy. Over time, contradiction by contradiction. After the Treaty of Versailles, leaders claimed peace, but the terms planted resentment. Stability was projected. Collapse was brewing. Today, climate governance makes similar declarations, net zero by 2050, yet pipelines grow, disasters increase, the pledges no longer hold. At this point, collapse is not an event, it is an erosion. Institutions begin to hollow, even as their exteriors are freshly painted. And the public sees it, they just don't always have the language to name it. Stage 3 is fracture, the middle loses gravity, people stop believing they share the same world. In Yugoslavia, the slow decay of unity turned fast when pressure built. Once reformable, it became combustible. In our time, education systems train for jobs that won't exist in the near future. Automation reshapes work faster than policy responds. And the dissonance becomes personal. When narratives no longer align with daily experience, people retreat into polarization, alternative facts, or numb disengagement. What collapses here is the idea of a shared future. Then the crisis becomes visible. But stage 4 isn't the beginning. It's the moment collapse catches up to perception, the moment denial runs out. In the final years of the Soviet Union, reform attempts unleashed what the system had long suppressed. Decay met daylight. Today, our information ecosystem bears the weight. Platforms amplify confusion, trust breaks. And still, the structure stands, but no longer supports. The headlines call it a crisis, but crisis is just what happens when the quiet breakdown can no longer be ignored. It is collapse with a camera on. And then comes the choice. Stage 5 is not collapse itself, it's reorientation. The moment we choose to adapt or to entrench. In Iceland, after the 2008 financial crash exposed institutional fragility, the public didn't just protest. They rewrote their constitution through crowdsourced civic input. It wasn't perfect, and not all of it passed, but it showed what reorientation can look like, people choosing redesign over retreat. That energy lives across communities in social pilots, citizen assemblies, the quiet work of those who still believe in redesign. What matters here is not the past, but the systems we are willing to update. Collapse here is a turning point, not a conclusion. And then stage 6 is collapse. Not symbolic, not looming, actual. When the Second World War broke out, the structures built to prevent another global catastrophe, diplomacy, treaties, deterrence, failed. Entire nations fell into authoritarianism. Borders were erased overnight. Laws became tools of exclusion. Civilians became targets. This is collapse, not just a breakdown of services, but of meaning. When violence replaces negotiation and survival replaces participation. And while headlines may suggest a sudden event, collapse is rarely sudden. It is the final act of long-forgotten signals. Collapse is not destiny, it is an invitation. Not to panic, but to perceive. Not to predict the end, but to pay attention while change is still possible. This is not about fear, this is about fluency. In seeing the early signs and building early responses. Because the sooner we recognize erosion, the less repair we'll need. And the more intentional we can be about what comes next.